Hello, Stephen Dean speaking. I thought it was time I said something about near-death experiences. Now, I've been watching quite a few of these on the internet lately, and they're really very interesting. It's come to my attention that, like, when they pass on, they go through a tunnel of light and usually meet their old grandmother or something like that, or some kind of relative, and they find themselves surrounded by images. I don't know if they're images, but they sense that they're surrounded by souls or beings or something like that, and that they meet Jesus. And invariably, they always tell them they've got to go back. And also, I've noted that these people experiencing a near-death experience already don't want to go back. And in some cases, they've argued very vociferously not to go back, because being there is fundamentally far, far better than being here. They end up going back anyway, because there's two cases I've watched, two of these experiences where they've actually put their foot down, or spiritual foot down, so to speak, and said, well, I'm not going back there, I really don't want to. And then they're offered an alternative, like, where you can pick one of these three babies and you can get into that body, but the life that baby is due is nothing like, or a lot worse than the one you've just left, so I'd advise you to go back to that one. So given that kind of choice, they go back to the body. And they're usually told that they've got some mission, and it seems to be that they have to pass on temporarily during the course of that life in order to be sure to know that they do have a mission to accomplish once they get back. Some cases they speak about the lives they've led were actually arranged before they come to this life. Before they were born, they picked their own life, they picked what would happen, and all the events in their lives, and the good and the bad and all this and the other. So in some cases, the lives they've picked have been so terrible, it makes you wonder why they would pick that life in the first place. But I suppose you wouldn't know the reason for that unless you're actually in this major afterlife that precedes this. It seems to me that in the major afterlife prior to this, that there is no hatred or fear at all. It appears to me that the afterlife we visit here, if everything there is separated, then it's just as illusory as this is. And yet there doesn't appear to be any fear or hatred. Now, from what I've gathered from different sources, the afterlife itself can be seen as like a massive fairground with all sorts of rides in it, and this is only one of them. But this is the only ride that contains perfect opposites. And of course, in a land of perfect opposites, the opposite to love has got to be perfect fear. And that's what's found in this ride. So once you come out of this one, you find yourself still in an afterlife, an illusory afterlife, so to speak, but it doesn't contain the hatred and fear that this one contains. And that's why these souls, when they go there, actually think they're in heaven, because it's so much better than here anyway. Now, in the Course of Miracles, heaven itself is total oneness, where everything is one. It's not even a thing. It's not even an energy. It just is. And that isness is all that is, you see. So these illusory afterlives, where everything is separated, are not really heaven at all, although they appear to be, because they don't have the negativity that exists in this one. So really, and also another case is like, when they're made to come back, as I read fairly recently in The Disappearance of the Universe, the two ascended masters who speak to Gary Renard said that if they had actually made it back to the oneness of God, their bodies would have to be deceased, because you can't get that far. Where they've actually gone with these near-death experiences is onto what the Course of Miracles describes, the lawns outside the gates of heaven, you see. So now apparently there's thousands and thousands of these afterlives, because once you come to these afterlife, the illusory afterlife that you come from here, you'll just go round and round and round, getting reincarnated till you've learnt enough lessons to get back to this afterlife and thence onward to the oneness of God, the true afterlife. You see, now you can't wake up, I understand, outside this environment. If you're inside this experience of positivity and negativity, you must wake up within this experience. You can't wake up in an afterlife, because you're already in an afterlife. You see what I mean? You can't go from an illusory afterlife if you haven't made it already to the oneness of God. You have to go from here to the oneness of God. And that is the whole point of studying the Course in Miracles. And prior to that, we don't have to study the disappearance of the universe. But it is a really good introduction to the Course in Miracles, and will eventually save you time. So for those of you not wishing to experience this illusory afterlife that follows on from this, and want to go straight home to the absolute ecstasy that is the oneness of God, I'd say get yourself a copy of the Course in Miracles and learn it the best you can, and take that shortcut, because the love of God is our true home. And though we're all going to get there eventually, it don't hurt to try and take a shortcut. Okay, thanks very much. I'll see you. Bye.